we grew very quickly and we did not really know what we were doing. We were just firm that we wanted to educate people. We wanted to give them the best service. We wanted to follow them with each move. And we wanted to give the same service to the people who joined our company, whether it's agents or operations, right? We wanted to follow them with each move, and we wanted to provide them the best service and culture, and we wanted to change their lives. Those were the things that I knew. And that was all that was guiding me. That's all I was focused on.
All righty. Welcome back to Are You Winning? I am Coach Craig Zuber, and I'm super excited because I'm here today with Tonya Towles. She is unbelievable for number one. Tonya is the founder of the PCS Pro team, now known as the PCS Pro Network. We'll get to that soon. Tonya has been in real estate for how long now, Tonya? Since 2017, 2018? Is that accurate?
17, yep.
2017. And Tonya has sold as much as 1,200 houses in a year. Holy smokes. 1,200 houses in a year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that number right?
It
Tonya?
is. It is. And we like to call it family served. So
Family served.
Yep.
1,200 families served in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you started in real estate in 2017. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, Tonya, did you always want to be a real estate agent?
No, not at all. It just kind of happened in the best way possible. So
it just kind of happened?
Yep. Yeah. I was working multiple jobs, and at one of my jobs, it was management. It was a receptionist type spa environment. And one of the front desk girls, you chit chat, you come in, you're talking with each other. One of the front desk girls, she came in one day and she was excited. She was telling us that she signed up for real estate school, and she was telling us all about it because she was excited she could do it online, she could do it after work and whatnot. And she was telling us about real estate, and that kind of lit a light bulb in me that, well, I'm already kind of in sales because we're selling memberships. It was a massage spa, so we were selling memberships. And I knew the way that I approached sales for that was kind of different because I was looking at people's finances. And to me at the time, the place where I was in, $50 a month for a massage was like, you had to be loaded to agree to that. So I was treating these people's money like it was the most valuable thing in the world. And just a little background on me, I was homeless for much of my childhood, and I left my hometown to move states and really start my life. And when I did that, I was enrolled in college classes, working multiple jobs. And so this was kind of that point in my life where I was in the work 24/7 part of my life. And so she was talking about real estate school. That lit off a light bulb in me of, hey, I am working all these jobs. I do need to kind of start thinking about the next phase in my life and what I want to do career-wise. I knew I wanted to be in business of some sort. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I was really passionate about helping people problem solve, because I would do that with the massages. I would say, well, you really want massages. You're saying you have a back injury. You're saying you need to relax. Well, you'll save X amount of money if you do a membership. And then the people who told me they had financial issues, well, I knew not to press them on a membership. I was very delicate of not selling to every person who walked in the door, but instead helping people meet a need and problem solve. And so she talked about real estate school, and I went for it. I signed up and I did it. I would work 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week between all 3 jobs. And I would go home and I would do my real estate school online, and I just didn't sleep. And I did it in about a month. And that's how I got into real estate.
And this all happens in 2017, or was this in 2016 that you were doing?
That was in 2017. Yep. It was December of 2016.
Going into 17. Okay.
And then I met my husband in January of 2017. So you threw a new relationship also into the mix of multiple jobs, getting into real estate.
How the heck do you meet a husband to be or a future husband when you have 3 jobs working
Yeah.
until 10 o'clock at night, and then you're studying your real estate exam. I
I
would
will say
love
he
to.
was a very patient man. There wasn't a whole lot of time for in-person interaction. I will say that much. He was very patient with me. Our first date was actually, I had a 30-minute break in between jobs where I had to drive to the next job. And so our first date was sitting in a Sonic parking lot eating milkshakes before I went into my next job. So, I give him all the kudos because I look back to how little time I even had for myself back then. And he was willing to cultivate a friendship and then a relationship with me and stick through it. So it was definitely a very hectic time. Yeah. I didn't sleep.
Wow,
Did I say that already? That I didn't sleep? Yeah, I did not sleep.
you didn't sleep. Okay, so you're working 3 jobs, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and then getting your real estate license after that. All right, so then you get your real estate license.
Yeah.
And how long did it take before you started selling houses or before you gave up one of 3 other jobs?
Yeah. So I left one of the jobs within a couple months of getting licensed. So that left me with 2 full-time jobs. I really count 2017 as just a blimp on the radar because I didn't give real estate the attention it deserved. I wasn't being a realtor, I wasn't doing any activities to do real estate. I just thought it was going to be a friend here and there who asked me for help, and I was going to sneak that in where I could, which I did. My first year, I think I did 3 or 4 sales, and they were all my really close friends who trusted me. And I remember stepping out literally from my front desk job, stepping out to call and negotiate repairs or schedule things and whatnot, schedule the closing. So it was definitely 2017 was very time consuming. So yeah, I went down to 2 jobs, did those 3 or 4 sales that first year. And then the next year, so that first year, again, I was at one brokerage. It was a local broker. Well, it was a franchise, but it wasn't a Keller Williams, with a local ownership team who they were really phenomenal. They really taught me a lot, but they were very much so set up for already successful solo agents. And so I was just kind of spinning my wheels, and I was realizing that I had a lot of good ideas, but I have ADHD, recently diagnosed, and so now it makes a lot of sense, but I was doing what we recognize in new agents, and we call it the bumblebee effect, where you get licensed and you want to try all of the fun, shiny things. You want to do the shopping cart, the car magnet, the pens, but you don't actually follow through on anything. You just try a million things and you try it once or twice, and then you're never going to see results because you're not consistent. Well, I was realizing that about myself, that I had these great ideas, but I didn't have anyone to do them with me. So therefore I wasn't holding myself accountable, because I am a team player. I'm someone who I want to win together. I want to mastermind together. I want to work as a community. And so I wasn't really finding that. And I remember going to, I respect him dearly, and this is nothing on him. You don't know what you don't know. But I remember going to my broker in that office and saying, hey, I have these really great ideas. I'd like to partner up with another person in our office, another military spouse. Because in that year, my husband and I had gotten married, and I was getting immersed into the military community. And there's another military spouse in our office, and she was a new agent too. And I was like, I have these ideas. I'd like to just kind of tether arms with her and see if we can do these ideas together. Can we team up? And I talked to her first. She was very excited. She was gung-ho to do it. But then I talked to him, and he said, well, you're not nearly experienced enough. You haven't been doing this long enough. You're still a new agent yourself. Don't do it. And so I just kind of took that as okay, well, he doesn't think we can do it, but we're going to do it, and we're going to prove him wrong. It's going to be fine. And a couple of days later, she told me that he approached her and said, don't do it. Tanya's not experienced enough. And again, I don't think he meant it maliciously. I think he truly saw me as a flight risk, trying to do this thing that I wasn't ready to do yet. So that just kind of, I was like, okay, well, all right, I'm still going to try to do it. But I wasn't ready to do it yet. And I knew that I needed that community. I knew that I needed that teamwork atmosphere. And so I approached another team in our area who, by the looks of social media, they had that teamwork atmosphere that I was looking for. They did the fun stuff together. They did the cutesy stuff for their clients together. They looked like it was going to be a fun community environment, and they were at Keller Williams. So I joined their team, and that's how I got to Keller Williams. And this was in 2018.
So 2018. Okay, so now we're at 2018. So you dabble, you bumblebee, do a few things.
Yes, your question was when I dropped the jobs, though, and that's why I got there. Very sorry. When I joined their team, the requirement was that I had to leave all of my jobs. So I dropped the one job first, and then when I joined their team, then I had to say sayonara to the other jobs, and I was all in on real estate.
Okay, so now we're at 2018, and now you are all in. One focus, all in, going to go for it.
Yes.
And so from the time that you go forward in 2018 to basically, I don't know, to 2021, you get to 1,200 in a year, 1,200
there's some more in
families.
there, like some more other things there, but yeah.
Of course, we're going to get to that. And as of today, for clarification, where do you live? Where do you actually reside?
I live physically in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My husband's stationed at Fort Bragg. But my hub is in Colorado, which is where I started the PCS Pro Network.
Right. Okay. So you live in North Carolina, your hub is in Colorado. When you started this process, you were in Colorado then?
We were 3 months from leaving Colorado, 2 months from leaving Colorado. So yes, I was physically there when we on paper started the team, but very quickly after that, we had relocated to Texas because my husband got stationed at Fort Bliss, which is in El Paso, Texas. So it was a lot of Zoom meetings before Zoom meetings were cool.
Well, do you remember how many families were served in 2018?
Well, in 2018, I was on someone else's team at that point.
So you joined that team. How long were you on that team for?
Just shy of a year.
That
and
was
there's a kind of a
was that? 18, right? So 2018 was you joined the team, joined somebody else's team, left your job behind. Now you're going all in with real estate, but you're doing it on somebody else's team. Okay. How long did that last?
It was kind of a two-part. I went 6 months without a single sale. And again, I'd quit my jobs. My husband was deployed at this point in time. I was donating blood, plasma, whatever you call it. And I was kind of spinning my wheels because I was looking at them to solve my problems, which now as a team leader, I understand the flaw in my mindset, and that's totally fine. But I was spinning my wheels, waiting for them to solve my problems. And I let about 6 months go by before I woke up one day and I said, I'm going to solve my own problems, which is naturally who I am as a person. I think I don't know why it took me so long for that to click in me. So then another 4 or 5 months went by where I had figured it out. I figured out what I was passionate about, and it was educating military families. It wasn't selling to military families. It was educating them, because I realized that there was a lot of misconceptions about the VA loan, and there was a lot of people who weren't using the VA loan, not because they didn't want to, not because it was an informed decision, but because they didn't realize they could. They didn't realize the benefits that came with it. They didn't realize that they could build a rental portfolio with it. They didn't realize that they could buy multiple houses and have multiple out at the same time. They didn't realize these things. And so when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go tell everyone this thing. And I'm not going to push them to act on the thing. If they still don't want to do it, that's fine. But I will sleep better at night knowing they know. And so that's what I got obsessed with, was just educating anyone and everyone I could, not even necessarily talking about real estate, but just talking about this hack that I'd found, essentially, that I just wanted to share like candy. So then I started doing 5 to 6 closings a month very, very quickly.
the first half of 2018, even though you were all in, you still hadn't quite figured it out, and you hadn't really sold a ton of real estate for the first half of 2018. All of a sudden, you get educated on this product called a VA loan that you had no idea could open up so many doors, and you could educate other people about the opportunity by using this, right? Like you don't have to, but make sure that you're educated to be able to make a great decision and you know your options that are out there. Okay.
Yes.
You're excited, you're passionate, you want to go share all of this with everybody like candy.
Yes.
And somewhere during that process, you also make a decision to go out on your own.
Yes.
Okay. So when did you make the decision to go out on your own? What time was it? Is that 2018 still? Was it 2019?
January of 2019.
So January of 2019, you are now going out as a single agent. What was your mission at that moment in time? You're going to go build something big, or you were just going to go educate as many people as you could on the VA loan?
It was both. I don't think I knew how big I wanted to build it, but the whole education piece, I had realized that other agents, particularly new agents who were in the spot I was, who were maybe spinning their wheels and did want to help others, but just weren't quite sure how to do that. It was a two-part passion. So when I say I went solo, it wasn't really solo. This was probably just an overconfident thing on my end, but how I announced I was leaving the team that I was on, I was going out on my own, is I actually announced it with a team name. I didn't have agents yet, but my announcement was a team name because I had every intention and belief that I was going to attract agents and I was going to educate them and I was going to help them succeed in their careers, because I was so passionate about giving them the opportunities that I wish that I was given and giving them the education and the support that I wish that I was given. So when I made this announcement, I stepped out and I jumped off the cliff, whatever you want to call it. That was on Super Bowl Sunday, 2019. I remember, not because I'm a huge football fan, but because I made a play on making a Super Bowl joke, because I knew everyone was scrolling their Facebook feed and looking for Super Bowl things. So I made a Super Bowl joke. And that was my big announcement of, I'm doing this thing. I'd appreciate your support. If anyone is looking for a job, I would love to take agents on and educate them with what I know. And I was very surprised that a lot of people actually wanted to learn what I had to teach. And that's how I ended up with my first 3 agents. And they were all in school at the time. So they were fresh, brand new agents. And those were the first agents to start the first location, the first team, which was the PCS Pro team in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
So the PCS Pro team in Colorado gets launched. You have this, I don't know if you call it a vision. You just knew that you were going to do something that would potentially attract people. And so you're already thinking like a global network, or I'm the one person show that has a global name that's going to turn into quite a few people someday.
I get accused of thinking too big sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I definitely was not thinking that big yet. I definitely wasn't thinking that big yet. I thought, I'm going to have this giant team in Colorado. I'm going to change so many lives. Maybe we'll grow and we'll go to the other locations that I might move and we'll change lives there and I'll educate all these agents. I was not thinking in terms of global just yet by any means. So,
all right. So now we're January 2019.
Yes. February of 2019. Yeah.
Okay. So got it. And you make this announcement and all of a sudden 3 people say, yes, I'm brand new. We would love to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing.
More than 3, but 3 is who I narrowed it down to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually had more than 3 that wanted to be a part of it, but you narrowed it down to the 3 that you chose.
Yes.
And selected to come with you.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
That's February of 2019. I'm still trying to figure out here. February of 2019, you haven't sold a whole lot of real estate yet. And And by the end of 2021, you've served.
Yeah, a lot of people told me I was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of what the heck are you doing?
Okay.
But those three people trusted me, and so did our clients. And well,
okay, so February 2019, we're here.
Yeah.
What's next? What happens?
They got into production fairly quickly. Well, so the little piece about us moving, we moved. So that was February. March or April, I had a surgery and I got sepsis really bad. And I actually got hospitalized. This was when I was still in Colorado. And this was, again, keep in mind, February, these agents were in school. They weren't licensed yet. They definitely they had to get through licensing. But then once they were licensed, they needed someone to teach them things. And so my way of teaching was, okay, strap on your boots. You're gonna watch me and you're gonna learn with me. I'm not gonna, stick you and tell you to go read a book. You're gonna come with me. You're gonna come with me to my closings, my inspections. These clients are now your clients. You get to partake and talk to them like they're your clients. And so it was very on the job training. But then in April or May, I'm fuzzy on my timelines, I got hospitalized. I think it was April. I ended up having to live in the hospital for 2 weeks. I had the PICC line, the thing where you can't eat or drink and you have the thing in your arm. I had that in me. So they were coming to the hospital to help me watch me write contracts. And I still really give them kudos because that was, once again, a very hectic time in my life. We had our launch party to announce that location. It was in April. And I begged and pleaded with my surgeon to let me go to it because there was no way that I was going to miss celebrating with them and cheersing them in person and not from a hospital bed. And so they all thought I was crazy once again, but they capped off my PICC line and gave me you can leave the hospital for 6-hour note. And I was like Cinderella. I had to be back at 10 p.m. to get back in my hospital gown, back in my bed. And then about a month after that is when my husband and I actually moved to Texas because he had to relocate with the Army to Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. So that was our start. And we all almost died and it was crazy, but those 3 agents were committed and they trusted me. Oh my gosh, they trusted me and they trusted the process. And they were so passionate about serving others and educating them and also wanting to change their own lives in the process. And that's where my heart is when you can come to me and say that you want to change your life and you're willing to do the work and you're on fire about wanting to change your life. And they were, and they so deserved it. And so they got into production really quickly and flew. And so that was kind of all that I needed to say, all right, I want to go do that a lot more. And so I very quickly switched, which I know isn't very common, especially with newer agents like myself. I got out of production immediately. I said, my clients are your clients. Here you go. Because I wanted them to see as much success as possible. And so I very quickly assumed that role of I'm here just to pour into you and educate you and get you off the ground. And so that happened. And about 6 months later, we were ready to expand. Well, we weren't ready to expand. Everyone told us not to expand, but I was ready to expand. So we started bringing on agents that I'd networked with, other military spouse agents in other cities who also, were willing to take the leap of faith and wanted to change their lives and wanted to change other people's lives. And we just started rolling the ball down the hill from there.
Hey there, I'm Jeremy Herman, CEO and co-founder of ClarityNOW. Listening to this podcast means that you're committed to your career and to growing your business. You're the reason why we created ClarityNOW. You see, ClarityNOW is the real estate software designed to transform real estate agents into business owners. Now, being a great real estate agent is an entirely different skill set than being a great business owner. That's where ClarityNOW can help. ClarityNOW is powerful because some of the industry's top real estate coaches built it. We know what insights as coaches top performers need to grow their business. So, do you have a business plan based on your net profit goals? Do you know how you're performing against your quarterly goals? Do you generate a P&L each month? Do you have the best tools to help your team members hit their goals? Are you managing your company's pipeline and conversion reports? Do you have the data that you need at your fingertips to run a successful business? ClarityNOW can solve all these problems. Visit us at www.claritynowre.com and schedule a personalized tour to learn more. Mention this ad and we'll throw in 1 month for free. Congratulations on your success, and let's take your business to the next level together.
So you take these three agents come aboard, they trust you, you're teaching them on the job training, they're in the field with you.
Mhm.
You get sick, you make this transition to Texas all in a short period of time.
Yeah.
But you're still massively passionate about getting this word out.
Mhm.
And so when you say you wanted to expand, was there a specific location that you were looking at going after, or were you like, hey, I'm so clearly focused on the military or serving the military that I'm now going to target anybody that wants to be able to share this message?
Mhm. Mhm. It was definitely focusing on heavily military populated locations, or a military spouse or a reservist or someone who had affiliation to the military in the beginning. From there, our location focus has stayed the same, but we've opened it up to, you don't necessarily have to be affiliated with the military, but as long as you're passionate about serving the military and learning the delicacies that go into dealing with the military, because it's a whole ball game, and they do deserve the utmost respect and accommodations. There's a lot of accommodations that go into it, and just learning the lingo and learning what their life is like. So in the beginning, it was specifically if you had military affiliation. And then it was also if you were passionate about serving them and you weren't just looking for a quick buck kind of a thing. And so, yes, our target was on military locations, but we didn't have one specific one in mind. It was more so the people we were looking for. And we were looking for the people who, first and foremost, wanted to be a part of our community, as in like our agents community, and wanted to be a teammate and a team player and serve together versus the solo agent mindset. So that was really important to us. Just someone who was, not wanting a stepping stone or didn't see their teammates as a stepping stone. And then also, again, someone who's passionate about serving the military and slowing down to see them as people and not dollar signs.
Wow. Okay. So during this time, we're in the middle of 2019, somewhere around there, and you still have the three agents before you decide you want to expand. People are trying to tell you, nope, not a good idea. You're not ready to expand. You decide, I'm going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a framed text of, this is a full circle moment. We can edit it out. It's just funny. I like to tell it. A text that I received at Mega Camp in 2019. A week prior, we had signed on, maybe 2 weeks prior. It was very recent to go into Mega Camp. We had signed on our first expansion location. And I had that agent there with me at Mega Camp. So this is my first Mega Camp I'm attending, because the first, again, team started February of 2019. So now I'm attending Mega Camp 6 months later. I'm in the audience listening to the expansion panel, and it was all the greats up there, right? It was Adam Hergenrother and Kristen Cole, I believe, was up there. I'm not sure if Ben was up there, but it was all the top expansion at the time. And I remember being in the audience, and I got a text from another colleague who I respect dearly. And so this is another situation where I know he didn't mean it maliciously, but you only know what you know. And if you're being told something's impossible, you're probably going to tell other people it's impossible. And I get a text from him and he says, "Are you listening right now?" Because he was in the audience. He said, "Are you listening right now? They said you're not ready." Because Adam had just answered a question. The question was, how do you know when you're ready to expand? And the answer, they all basically said the same thing of, until you have a couple $100,000 in capital, until your first location is a mega team and is seeing X amount of GCI a year, don't even think about expansion. And obviously we're a brand spanking new team. We have 3 agents. They did just over 100 units in 2019 between the 3 of them. I think it was like 115 or something. So by no means were we Lance Loken or an Adam Hergenrother hub. But I still did it. And so I have that text and I chuckle about it every once in a while, because if I had listened to him, well, we wouldn't be here right now. So.
Okay. So
And full circle moment. I forgot to finish the circle. I'm so sorry. At family reunion next month, I'm speaking on a panel with Adam Hergenrother. So that's my full circle closing right there. So that's kind of cool.
Kind of cool. But did you not, when you expand, like when you decide you're going to expand, this is still 2019 and you're only going into one location with one other agent, or? Okay.
Well, quickly after that, it became more, but the first one, there had to be a first one.
Right. So the first,
Definitely wasn't a one at a time, let them get successful and then wait again. It was all at once kind of a thing.
Okay. So after you launch your first one,
Yes.
then how many other locations did you have 12 months later?
I can tell you 6 months later, we had 4 total locations. Well, 7 months later, we had 4 total locations because we did that first expansion and then we did 2 more about a month later. So we finished 2019 with a hub and 3 locations total. And that's what finished 2019.
Now, for people listening in, when we're talking about the hub meaning all of your operations is running out of the hub to support these other locations. Is that what we mean by that?
No, unfortunately, no, we are the black sheep of expansion. So because we serve the military, my second part of that mission is serving the military with careers and providing career opportunities. And so we actually never had in-person operations in Colorado. It was always virtual, someone somewhere. So our first couple hires, one was in Tennessee before we even had a location in Tennessee. One was in Florida, well before we had a location in Florida. So we call it the hub because that's just how KW classifies in the reporting system who the main location is that everything comes out of. And I love my leadership there. And so that's why with each move, I've not transferred my hub, even though I'm physically moving to other locations. I love the KW leadership there. And so I've kept my hub on paper with Keller Williams in that office. So yeah, all of our staff, which has grown exponentially as well, they're kind of scattered all throughout the country. So basically from day one, then your operational team has been decentralized from day one. Yeah. Well, before 2020, when everyone had to do it. Yeah.
That's actually brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. A lot of people told us otherwise, but yeah, it's fine.
You can decentralize it, makes it easier to expand.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So now we know that you're providing job opportunities, regardless of state, right? Like, hey, if you're great at a role and you're passionate about serving and some level of focus on the military, right? Like we're happy to employ you. Yeah.
Well, and for our operations, especially, they're all military spouses, stay-at-home mom, the whole thing. They PCS, which is what we call it when you have a military move, they PCS and it affects really nothing because they worked from home anyways. So it's a very easy transition for them.
So what kind of mistakes did you make during this process? Or what was probably the greatest lessons that you learned from your first location through those 4 locations?
Listening to other people's opinions and not my own gut, whatever you want to call it. I think that's my biggest lesson, is just like I said, that text message that I got that I could have easily listened to and said, yeah, he's right. I'm not ready to expand. I'm not going to expand yet. Or that other broker who said, you're not ready to start a team yet. Don't start a team yet. Those are examples of times I chose not to listen, right? And I chose to do it anyways. There's been several times, especially as the team got more successful and more people wanted to give unsolicited advice on how I should do things. There were times that I wasn't as strong, and I did let people influence me, and I did make decisions that didn't feel right to me, but it sounded like it's something I should do because someone else is saying that I should do it. So don't get me wrong, there is a whole lot of startup mistakes, I guess you could say. Like, we didn't have the right operation software, we didn't have the right spreadsheet, or we didn't even have a spreadsheet, those kind of things. But I think maybe it's just because I'm not an analytical thinker in the first place. I'm very much so a emotional fly by the seat of my pants. So those kind of mistakes don't bug me so much. There definitely were them, though. We grew very quickly and we did not really know what we were doing. We were just firm that we wanted to educate people. We wanted to give them the best service. We wanted to follow them with each move. And we wanted to give the same service to the people who joined our company, whether it's agents or operations, right? We wanted to follow them with each move, and we wanted to provide them the best service and culture, and we wanted to change their lives. Those were the things that I knew. And that was all that was guiding me. That's all I was focused on. And so when it came to the small decisions or the small ways I could be swayed, sometimes I got swayed in the wrong direction because I was so focused on that end goal that my blinders were kind of on. And so, I would say that that's my biggest lesson, is letting people sway me when I should really listen to my gut.
Give me one thing that you've accomplished that either you or your business has accomplished that you didn't expect.
I mean, the 1,200 families served. I always kind of had this idea, this obsession, or this dream, whatever you want to call it, that I was going to be successful one day. As a child, that was just kind of a disassociation that I had to get through my childhood, as I told myself, one day you're going to change your life and it's not going to be like this. You're not going to be taking your showers before school at the public pool. You're going to know where your next meal is coming from. You're even going to be like incredibly successful, not just getting by, but you're going to be successful. You're going to change lives. You're going to share your story. I knew in my heart that was going to happen one day, but I don't think I could not have prepared myself for the caliber of what it's actually become. And I don't just mean that, oh God, why am I getting emotional? I'm sorry. I don't just mean that in the dollar sense, or in the, we're this ranking in Keller Williams, or we're this ranking with Real Trends, whatever. I mean it in the amount of people who tell me that I've changed their life. I was not prepared for that number and that amount, and the amount of people who have told me that someone else in my company has changed their life. Because I'm pretty far removed now. I kind of have to be with the size that everything is. But the stories that I read of an agent changing a family's life, I was not prepared for how big it would grow in that sense of things. So that's a big achievement that I'm really, really proud of. And I hope it keeps growing, but it's definitely beyond what I dreamed and prayed it would be. So that's pretty cool.
It's not pretty cool. It's very cool, because the 1,200 families served isn't in a few year span. That 1,200 was in a 1 year span in 2021, right?
And the part of that I'm very proud of is that was with 20 something agents. So the per agent productivity and their lives that changed by doing that was really fucking cool. You can edit that out, I'm sorry, but that was really, really special to me, because again, it was a two-part mission, right? It was serving these clients and it was educating them, and it was letting them build this equity or even build these rental portfolios. But it was also the people in my company. I did not want to just be another team leader who signed you up to cold call and have to donate plasma like I was, because I wasn't selling houses. I wanted to give these people careers that were going to provide them a big life. And so that it's a two thing, and it's really, really, really cool. I should probably work on my adjectives, my descriptors, whatever that word is.
So What do people misunderstand about you the most?
I think people think I'm mean. I have severe social anxiety, and I also have severe imposter syndrome. So I naturally think that I don't belong and that no one likes me, and that I just kind of have to keep my head down and just run past everyone. And it's out of self-preservation a little bit, but it's also because I have anxiety. And so I think that's one misconception I get, is because in building all of this, it put a massive spotlight on us, and that freaked me out. So I put my head down and I just stayed in my room, my metaphorical room. Like, I stayed within my company and I didn't really socialize. I think I got the rap that I didn't like people, or that I didn't want to socialize or network or whatever that was. But really, that's just because I was scared to do those things. So that's one misconception. I'm actually really insecure. I'm not mean. And
So what do
actually,
you
I said that on stage, and I had a lot of people come up to me afterwards and say that they related to that. So I think our whole industry just needs to not assume someone doesn't like you if they don't talk to you. They might just have social anxiety.
Wow. Anything else you want to share about this 2.5-year journey?
You have to care about people a whole lot if you want to tackle the same thing. I think if I was money focused, it would not have worked. I would have quit the first time it got hard. I probably wouldn't even tackled it, because there wasn't really a whole lot of money in the beginning. I was focused on something bigger than the numbers. I was focused on something bigger than the profit. I was focused on the emotions and the people. And that's what propelled me through all of it, was the mission. And so again, there was small mistakes along the way that I learned from, and you pivot. And I think that's very important for any leader to have, is learn from your mistakes and keep going. Don't dwell on yesterday. Don't stop in your tracks or beat yourself up or whatever that is. Just keep going with what you know now, but also have something that you're working towards that's bigger than tomorrow. That's bigger than, because when you accomplish that thing, then what? Then what's going to happen? Unless that's what you want to do. You want to accomplish it and you want to go retire and lay on a beach somewhere, then by all means, go for it. No hate to
All right, so set modesty aside for a second. Just what are the traits that make you a badass?
A lot of trauma. Mm-hmm. No, really. I think that I'm as driven as I am because I didn't have a choice in my childhood. First of all, I once had a therapist tell me they were surprised I wasn't a serial killer or in jail. So if that tells you anything about my childhood, that's it in a nutshell. But I was given two choices as a child, as a teenager, that I could have succumbed to my circumstances. I could have succumbed to societal beliefs that, I was the homeless girl. I was the girl who lived in poverty. That's all I'm going to be for the rest of my life. Get on food stamps. You know what I mean? I could have accepted that was going to be my life, or I could have set goals for my life and I could have been obsessed with those goals and I could have worked really, really hard to get to those. And so I would say that my drive is what makes me, I'm not going to call myself a badass because I don't really do that, but it's what makes me who I am, because I'm not just driven for myself. I see how others can overcome those things as well. And so I want to reach out and give everything that I know and everything that I had to learn and overcome and suffer through. Essentially, I want to give all of that to those around me and give them that drive. And if they don't have that drive yet, I'm going to push them and I'm going to drive them until they're ready to take the wheel. So that's what makes me. I'm a little obsessive and passionate.
I can tell. So what do you think, Tonya? What's the greatest opportunity that you see in the real estate industry over the next 12 to 24 months?
I'm thinking about it from a leader's perspective right now. And so do you want me to answer that, or do you want me to answer for agents?
I want you to answer whatever you see as the greatest opportunity.
Okay. From a leader's perspective, I'm seeing that a whole lot of agents are going to be going hungry and are going to be scared and are going to be spinning their wheels, much like I was in 2018, because the market, it is uncertain right now, and it is a little scary right now. And when you don't have that firm grip on your neck to push you through it and to say, hey, put your blinders on, the waters might be rough, but we're going to freaking get through this. It's very easy to get scared, and it's very easy to spin your wheels and lose focus. And so as a leader, the opportunity I see right now is the amount of lives that I can bring into my organization, and I can say, hey, put on your blinders. We're going to get through this. From an agent's perspective, kind of the same thing with our clients, that they're still going to need roofs over their head. They're still going to need an advocate educating them. If they still need a roof over their head, they're still going to need someone there holding their hand and educating them on the best possible options for them. And so for our agents, well, there's gonna be a whole lot more opportunity for that, because the agents who don't find that person to hold their neck and get them through it, there's gonna be that much less agents as, competition out there. So it's just, again, stay firm to the people I surround myself are the ones who are passionate about educating and serving our clients. And that's why I'm so firm we will survive whatever the market is doing, because that's what we're chasing and that's what we're holding on strong to. And so even if that's not your thing, finding that thing that's driving you, not just where am I going to find my next client, but the thing that's driving you throughout all of it, I think that's where you can find massive opportunity, especially in uncertainty when so many people are going to be running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And I do think that that's a large reason our company saw so much success in 2020 and 2021, is because when most of our industry was freaking out and panicking, we kind of put our heads down and said, we're not going to panic. We're going to show up for our clients how they need us today. It's going to look different than yesterday, and it's probably going to look different again tomorrow, but we're still going to show up for them today and not let the media scare us, not let the other agents on Facebook in my city scare me. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my job and I'm going to serve people. And so, it goes around to say the claim your unfair share. And I know that was shouted from the rooftop, especially in KW in that time. And that's what we did. And so I think that that's going to happen all over again. Put on your war paint, steer your ship, and get through the rough seas, because a whole lot of people are jumping off the ship right now. So if you attack it head on, or like a buffalo, or whatever that new slogan that's going out is, that's my mindset. It's just get through it.
So what's one piece of advice that you would give to somebody starting out in real estate right now?
Find that thing that drives you, and probably find a mentor so that you're not trying to figure it out alone, whether that's joining a team, which obviously I'm a huge fan of, or it's someone in your brokerage, or even just a business mentor, or another local business owner in your town that you can mastermind with and you can connect to. And because it's lonely, and when you're already spinning your wheels and losing interest and losing focus, it's easy to feel even lonelier. So just find a mentor, find a community, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Love it. All right, Tonya, let's, you got some advice, or not advice, how about recommended, you got 1 to 3 books that you love or that you'd recommend?
A lot.
Just a few.
Someone with my brain where I have like 50 trains going at any given time. And if I could turn my camera around right now, I would. I'm literally surrounded by over 100 books. I feel like I'm supposed to say the red book.
You're not supposed to say anything. Okay.
Okay. I'll go off of authors, because I feel like their books all kind of have a similar message. So Brene Brown, her stuff, especially for mental toughness, which is obviously the theme that I come to life with. Mental toughness, Brene Brown. Simon Sinek, I don't know if I'm saying that right. for our women who might be listening, the book, How Are You Really by Jenna Kutcher. That's a really good one to listen to, which, in our pre-interview, you asked me how I was and I clammed up and I said, I never know how to answer that. That's what her whole book is about, is when people ask you that, don't just say, I'm fine. How are you really? Get into it. So those are my recommendations. I'm also writing a book right now, so read that when it comes out.
That is crazy, because I was just about to ask you if you had to write
I
a
beat you
book.
to it. I'm so sorry.
You had to write a book tomorrow. What would you write about?
Yeah, overcoming and mental toughness. And that's what it's going to be about.
When can we expect this book to be out?
See, the way my life is set up, it's very busy. So I'm finding spare pockets of time here and there to work with my editing team for it. So hopefully by the end of the year, knock on wood. Hopefully.
The person that has accomplished 1,200 family circles in 1 year within a 2.5-year period of time is struggling to figure out the book that they're going to write within a 11-month period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it's more than just, it's pretty much my whole life story. And so each chapter is saying you can, you can do hard things, basically. So each chapter is a different period in my life and something that I overcame, and then helping the reader understand how you too can overcome So that's what the whole book is about, is essentially the message that you can do it, especially with the theme of other people telling me I couldn't and not listening and doing it anyway.
Do we have a title or a subtitle for this book already?
Yes. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it though. I hinted at it.
Something about mental toughness and all the other things. All right, we'll just wait for it to come out. Excited. So 18-year-old version of yourself, you could go back. What's one thing that you would share with the 18-year-old version of yourself?
That was wow, I wasn't expecting that. That it's all worth it. That it's all worth it.
Love that.
I said I wasn't gonna cry. It's fine.
Well, how about this? If you could be remembered for one thing, Tonya, what would it be?
Changing a lot of lives.
Sounds to me like you're doing a pretty darn good job of that.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, I often think about my freshman year. It was the first year I was experiencing homelessness, and in my homeroom, they would put on the news, and the news one morning was playing this story on the woman from homeless to Harvard, and it was showing her story. And that woman and that story is single-handedly what got me through high school. Because I told myself that one day I'm going to inspire people the same way she inspired me. One day I'm going to have that story too. One day I'm going to be speaking to someone else who's a child and is homeless and doesn't think that they are going to have a future. And I'm going to show them that oh gosh, see, I didn't expect the emotions to be brought out, that they can have a future. And so I was very intentional that no one knew my story until that 1200. No one knew that I was the homeless girl until I could sit up there and say, this is what I overcame. And now I can sit here and tell you that you can do the same, that someone can do the same, that this can be you too. So that's what I want to be remembered for, is the same way that woman, well, she was a child when she was homeless to Harvard, but she was a woman when she was sharing her story, the same way that story got me through some of the hardest years of my life and is what gave me my drive and my belief that I could do something insane despite my circumstances. That's what I want to be remembered for, is that I gave that to other people.
You're definitely living it, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, I sincerely want to thank you.
Thank you.
Tonya Towles, for joining us today again And a special thank you to our sponsor, ClarityNOW. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast to get in the trenches with top real estate business owners who are winning and willing to share their lessons. This has been phenomenal. Thanks so much.
Thank you.